Hello everybody, welcome to Unveiling the Truth. Today's date is December 14th, 2013. I'm your host, Mark Howitt. I've got a special show planned for you guys today with a guest who I didn't announce actually. I didn't have the time to update the website this week with the future shows, but I've been working on it today, so I've got it all pretty much ready to update. But today's interview, as many of you are probably unaware because I had never announced it, is with Mark Grenon, who is a member of the Genesis 2 Church of Church and Healing, of Health and Healing rather. He's based out of the Dominican Republic, and I got speaking to him not too long ago. He sent me an email. He watched one of my documentary films, and he agreed with a lot of the things that I presented in the film, so he wanted to reach out and show me the Genesis Church and also some of the things that he's been involved with and what he does. He definitely wants to help out the world, and he's doing a great job. So I'm very happy to have him as a guest on the show today. He's actually in Canada today. They actually go around the world to different countries and they do seminars. So he's in Canada, but he's on the West Coast. Otherwise, we probably would have tried to arrange a live meeting, or I would have actually attended this seminar and tried to do the broadcast live from the seminar. That would have been great, but he's in British Columbia and I'm in Ontario, which is on the other side of the country. What the Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing is, based on the research that I've discovered and some of the videos that he's sent me to view myself, it's a church of health and healing, really, and it's a way so that people can heal themselves the way they want to be healed without the need of hospitals or pharmaceutical drugs or taking harmful substances that will actually cause further damage to the individual, as well as many effects. Which aren't side effects, by the way. They're actual effects from taking these medications. So it's essentially also, I guess you could say, an alternative medicine or alternative health church. It's not a religious church. Many of you may be thinking, that I've got members of a church coming on or anything like that, but it's not that kind of church. It's a very different church, and I'll get Mark to explain that further when I get him on. I'll be calling him up to do the interview very shortly. But first, before I have him on, I'd like to show you guys a quick video just to give you guys an introduction with some of the stuff that they're involved with. He actually promotes a product called MMS. That's what the Genesis 2 Church promotes as well. They promote the MMS treatment, and this is a way to essentially detoxify the body, and it works for many different illnesses and diseases. So I'd like to show you a video because it's very controversial. That's why I wanted to have him on the show today, is because it is a very controversial topic. MMS is definitely controversial, as I'll show you later on in the broadcast during the interview with Mark. Wikipedia slanders it. All sorts of these companies, the FDA, definitely are against this. But it's interesting to note that the Red Cross was on board, and they discovered that it had 100% rate of, I guess you could say, curing or treatment, 100%, and that was treating malaria. So malaria is something that is very deadly. It's rampant in developing countries, and a gentleman went there as part of the Red Cross, and he did field tests, and they proved positive. But as we'll find out later on in the episode, the Red Cross later recanted, and there's a whole bunch of controversy involved with this now. So I'd like to show a quick video before I get Mark on board here. And this video is about 10 minutes long, I believe, but it's very interesting because it actually shows the field test. It shows I think his name was Leo, who went to one of these countries to do the field test for the Red Cross. So without further ado, here is that video.
Water is a universal fundamental right. It does not belong to the one who makes it, it belongs to the one who needs it. We're on our way to Iganga, the village about 3 hours drive east of Kampala. We are here the guest of the Ugandese Red Cross, and the aim of the mission is to look at the side effects that a certain way of purifying water has on the blood of certain patients.
The mosquitoes like such dark and cool places.
Yeah.
And now they become habitat. So at the end of it all, we have so many cases of malaria in this area. So that's why you saw that out of every 50 cases you test, almost half are malaria positive.
My name is Klaas Proesmans. I'm the CEO and founder of the Water Reference Center, affiliated with the International Federation of Red Crosses and Red Crescents. My career started with the Belgian Special Forces and as a career with general aviation, which is private jets, followed by a career as Director of Operations with Virgin Airlines. Now, why do I mention this? Because my career was always about getting high results under a lot of pressure with very few tools. It's always been like that with the Special Forces, it's been like that in the airline business, it is like that with humanitarian operations. We came across a number of interesting technologies, always in the field of water, health, energy. We came across one of those purifying systems that already exists since probably over 100 years. And it's a purifying system based upon sodium chloride. The first records of use of this sodium chloride was actually in Flanders, like maybe 20 kilometers from my hometown in Ostend, where we have a spa. And in that spa, before the First World War, 1914, 1918, they were able to help people with skin diseases, small infections, always with the use of sodium chloride. It has been said and written that the use of sodium chloride cleans the body within 1 hour to 4 hours of the malaria parasite. And that was too good to be true not to go further into an investigation. Through our network, since we are affiliated with the International Red Cross, we contacted a number of national societies where malaria is present. One of them was Uganda. We contacted the National Society Secretary General. We explained what the intentions were, and we came over here just to look at the field, what different steps one need to make in order to do this kind of test, a pilot case. We visited the National Drug Agency, the Ministry of Health, all the people that have something to do with public health and the purifying of water. We identified a village. Actually, it is the National Society who identified a village. We had nothing to do with it. They chose Iganga. It has been chosen by the Red Cross National Society for two reasons. One, because the national authorities use sodium chloride as a way to purify water, which is exactly the same way as our Water Reference Center purifies water. Second reason is because they do have ongoing water and sanitation programs in that area, which is very convenient to the Water Reference Center. Because what we actually want to do in this month of December is look at the effect that sodium chloride has on the human body after being offered a glass of water. We started with mobilizing the local population. We had the use or the cooperation of the National Society. Lots of volunteers went on their bikes, bicycles, cars, motorbikes, whatever you have, all around the streets. The first day of operation, we gathered about 163 patients from all the villages around, and we identified only 5 malaria positive people. Oh, she comes from far away?
Yeah, it comes from far away.
We do a little blood test, just a little boop, prick, and then we do a quick strip malaria test. The positive ones are being sent to the lab for a thoroughly under the microscope test. And those ones are being offered 1 glass of purified water, the same way as the national authorities make it. And then we ask them to come back the next day for double check. The next day, early in the morning, I think when we arrived at the hospital that we identified, there must have been like 200 fresh new patients already, together with the 5 from the previous day. From the 5 from the previous day, 4 were identified malaria negative, 1 still had malaria parasites, and that's probably a personal matter because this guy, his name was Isaac, was in such a bad shape that I said, just give him the half dose. Isaac was given a full dosage. He came back the next day, being the 17th of December. Well enough, also Isaac was cleared of malaria.
We have some test results, and the most amazing test results are coming from the prison here in Lucana. And so yesterday we did some blood proofs in the prisoner, and all of them were positive. And now we did a second blood test, and all of them shows negative. So you can see that's a very amazing result because there's only 24 hours between it.
So all of them were positive yesterday? Now,
Yes.
now they are,
Yes.
they are negative.
Yeah.
Oh, this is very
So these are the tests.
Every other day we had around 150 to maybe 200 patients every single day. In total we identified 154 malaria positive patients together with the local health authorities and the doctors. All of them were treated. All of them were between 24 hours and 48 hours malaria negative without any side effects.
I'm so much impressed by this water. It's so unbelievable. From a layman's view, you may think it's impossible, but it's very possible. I've seen people healed, looked at their results from yesterday and seeing the results of today after taking the water. It's super impressive.
Those ones who are positive and they are on treatment, they are getting better. If we continued with this exercise, helping the needy in this way, we shall decrease malaria. But these ones now, the few who have come and they are positive and we are testing them for the second time, we see that the malaria parasites are decreasing, and some of them, they are not detected at all after taking the water. So if we went ahead with this program, I think it would help our district.
Very many people were found with malaria, but after giving them the treatment, all of them, they have no parasite of malaria.
With the water part of it as treatment, it is okay because it does not need so highly trained personnel. Someone who can be just briefed within a few minutes can try to measure the chemical.
I'm excited because of the instant results that are happening among all the people that we have so far tested. It is incredibly unbelievable to see that somebody tested of malaria positive yesterday turns up to be negative today and feels quite extremely better and more happy and healthier. So to me, this is a very good partnership, and I feel that if there is opportunity to increase this to these communities, it will be so much of great impact and beneficial towards the health of these people.
He's not eating well. She says the kid is feeling very well, but only he has lost some appetite. He's not eating well.
We closed the operation well enough. We will go back in January because we need to secure contingency. But we closed the operation to report back to the Secretary General here in Ugandese Red Cross Society and to report back to the Water Reference Center about the results of this field test. Now, all in all, 100% cured people, less than 5 days, all within 24 hours to 48 hours. That asks for further investigation.
So as you can see, the Red Cross went there and did some field tests to see how the this mineral water worked in curing malaria, and they had 100% test results, which is pretty amazing if you ask me, because malaria is definitely a very, very dangerous and deadly disease that for a long time we thought that there was no cure for it. And what's coming up is this mineral solution is actually helping a lot of different illnesses and diseases, more than one would think. But there is a lot of controversy surrounding this, which always happens when you find natural cures or anything like that, because the establishment will definitely try to ridicule that or stop that movement because they will lose profits. And it's very sad when we live in a world where the government or its agencies are more concerned about profits over actually helping people out. So without further ado, I'd like to get Mark on board here. Again, that's Archbishop Mark Grenon from Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing. And I've had the opportunity to speak with him just prior, actually a week ago too, through a Skype a conversation. And we definitely had a lot of good conversation. So I'm really looking forward to having him on. I'm just going to give him a call here and see if he's on board.
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Yes.
How's it going?
Can you hear me pretty good? I got this microphone on.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. And it's registering, so everything looks to be good.
Let me mute this thing so I don't hear myself. Right?
No problem. I'm just going to set it up here so it looks a bit better too. Here we go. There we go.
Okay. We are in Canada right now. I'm in, let me see, I gotta shut this off because I have a double. I hear myself.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear me? Okay, that's better.
Perfect.
All right. So we are here in Canada right now. We just came from 3 conferences in the U.S. Before that, we were in Bulgaria, Colombia, Chile, and Prague, different places, South Africa, and things are going well around the world. We're trying to get more people trained up in how to use the MMS, which is now called Master Mineral Solution. And I don't know what you want to ask me, but I can tell you from the beginning how I get into it, but I don't know exactly what topic you want me to hit right now, so you ask away.
Yeah, I guess to start things off, for any viewers that are listening and anybody who's going to watch the video later on when it's uploaded, if you can explain, introduce yourself, who you are, and as well the Genesis 2 Church. Just explain a little bit about that and how you got involved with that.
Okay, my name is Mark Grenon. I found MMS when I was working in South America, and Dominican Republic at the time, and I was a missionary pilot working with a lot of Christian religious groups and bringing in surgeons from United States, John Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, individual dentists and things, just to help the people free. Very nice people would take their summer vacations, a couple of weeks, and come down and help us down in the mission field. So I've got to know a lot of doctors for 10 years. We were doing a lot of surgery, mainly tubal ligations of women that were 29, 30 years old and had, 6 children. And then we also were dealing with people that had umbilical hernias, fixing those. So we were involved in the medical aspect with the doctors and surgeons on the mission field for 10 years. Before that, we were in Nigeria for 3 years. While we were having doctors come to the Dominican Republic, my oldest children, I have 8 children, the oldest 3 boys would come with the doctors to do the triage at the hospitals and interpret and help in Spanish. So there was 3 or 4 of us that contracted from the hospital's MRSA, and that's staph infection. It's a resistant staph infection against all antibiotics. Nothing basically touches it.
Yeah, it's
And at
very
that
hard
time,
to it's very hard to treat with just pharmaceutical antibiotics, I guess.
exactly, but we had the best on the market, Rocephin, Keflexin, these drugs that they give you after surgery that last 5 to 10 days in your blood to keep infection away. So we had some really good antibiotics, the best, and didn't touch it. So my son, one of my sons was playing baseball, and the surgeon told me, Mark, we might have to cut off his leg because it's going to grow, and the only way to stop the growth of this flesh-eating bacteria is cut off the leg at the knee. And my son's playing baseball. I'm thinking, no, this ain't going to fly. I can't see that happen. There's got to be a way to cure this. There has to be a way to stop this infection. I had always been, if you hear my voice, in 1976, I received the swine flu vaccine when I was 19 years old. And 2 weeks later, my voice was paralyzed on the left side.
From a vaccine? That was from a vaccine?
Yeah, the swine flu vaccine, 1976. And they put a lawsuit out. I didn't know until 25 years later, but there was a class action lawsuit because 500 people died, and many people got this paralyzation of their face and some permanent damage. And so there was a big lawsuit. I didn't know, but this is what caused this till many years later. I put the two together. I remembered 2 weeks after I had the swine flu, I just never put the pieces together that I had this voice change from the paralyzed vocal cord. So that's why I've never really liked injections or antibiotics in the first place, but my kids, they needed it. I had it myself. And so I just did a search on the internet, and I put in MRSA, methicillin resistant staphylococcus aureus. That's what it stands
MRSA?
for. MRSA. Yes, in all capitals. So I found this a few places, but I found this one book that was written by a guy named Jim Humble, Miracle Mineral Supplement. First, I just said, this is a joke. It's some kook because miracle. So I kind of dismissed it. And then I went back and I kept coming to this book. When I put MRSA in the search engine, cures, this would pop up. So I said, you know what, I'm going to read a little portion. And the first half of the book was free. So I read it, and it made sense to me how that this mineral that he found after curing malaria, as you just watched, in the jungles of South America, and then going to further it in Africa, and now to the point where since we've joined the team, we tried to do it in the Amazon in Colombia, but the guy was kidnapped and we got him out, so we couldn't do it there a year and a half ago. So another one of our guys that works with us, one of our health ministers, we call it, he went to Uganda, and that's what you see, because the man named Klaus was in Mexico, went to a seminar there, and they both teamed up and went to Uganda. So great thing. I mean, you see 154 people, 100% cured in 24 to 48 hours. I wish to God I had that when I was in malaria back in the early 90s. In Nigeria when I had malaria, but not now. I don't have it. But I did have dengue fever and MRSA. I cured both of those. Dengue took me about a day and a half, a little slower than the malaria, because the malaria is a parasite. The dengue is a virus. It takes a little bit longer.
So the malaria is contracted from drinking water. It's a parasite that lives in water.
No, it's a mosquito that bites you and injects that parasite in you, and then it gets in your blood, grows, and creates a havoc through your blood. And the MMS will go in there, and really MMS is basically what is killing it is the chlorine dioxide that is killing it. MMS is basically the sodium chloride. When you mix it with an acid, a food-grade acid, turns into chlorine dioxide, which is used in many applications all over the world, from canning foods to spraying raw meats before they package it, to spraying vegetables that never have to be washed off because there's no toxins, to the Katrina black mold after the hurricane, cleaning the houses up, to the anthrax scare, to hospitals cleaning floors with it, to water supplies around the world. They have FDA approved mouthwashes. Dentists use it. I mean, the applications everywhere. What Jim found out is that he can get this sodium chloride at a higher concentration, but lower, much lower than the industrial, but higher than something he gave the people in South America, which was called stabilized oxygen. It was only 3% sodium chloride. You drink it from these health food stores, and when it hit the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, it turned into chlorine dioxide, and that was giving some people some health benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Jim gave it to the people in the Amazon when he was doing some gold mining, and some of the workers there, and saw that half of them got well. Well, it wasn't strong enough, but half of them got well. Years following, he developed it up to 22.4%, and now 100% of the times the parasite's killed within 4 to 6 hours. They were saying 24 to 48, but it happens within 4 to 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the number one killer in the world. And so to continue my story, I found Jim. I read his book. I got the stuff. He doesn't sell any of this stuff. He just sells his book, and if he dies, he makes it free to mankind. So he's not a rich man. He's just a great humanitarian. And so I got the book, got the stuff from someone that offered it on the internet. I tried it first before I make sure I didn't kill anybody. Right? I read the testimonies. I'm pretty sure what to do. I did it correctly. And we're well more advanced than that time. And it was horrible. I mean, it was just really strong. You took it 3 times a day. Now it's very weak. You take it 8 times a day, like drinking water, and there's no side effects. We've developed it into something so simple, it's ridiculous. It cost you about $30 a month if you took it 8 times a day for a whole month. That's how cheap this stuff is.
To cure yourself,
how to make it.
Yeah, to cure yourself of such a deadly, lethal disease and a wider range of them, it's well worth it. I would say, definitely.
Well, the funny thing about it, the side effects of this was he was focusing on malaria, but the side effects were good side effects: cancer, HIV, diabetes, high blood pressure. We have lists of things and video testimonies of things that have happened. And I mean, this is a great side effect. It's not like the side effect I had from a vaccine, paralyzation. This is health. This is detoxification. This is alleviating your immune system from working so hard to get rid of toxins that it can focus on other things. Amazing things. We get stories and stories. So I found Jim. After I did that, all my kids, long story short, 6 months, no more breakouts, no more MRSA. Great. So I'm convinced. I start treating people around the area with different things. They're getting healed up. So I contact Jim. I said, Jim, I'd like to come to Malawi. I'm selling my compound in the Dominican Republic. I'm not really dealing with doctors anymore. I want to go with this natural mineral and learn more. So I'm coming to Africa. He goes, no, Mark, I really want to have a place where I can train people and develop this more. So he came to me. This is great. So I got the guy that invented this stuff living with me now, and he stayed there for about 3 years. And during that time, being a missionary pilot, him being involved in some spiritual churches, he said, we're talking one day. I was telling him, I'm a missionary. I've done this. He goes, you know what? I want to start a church. And so we kind of brainstormed. Like, great idea, Jim. We come up with this church named Genesis 2 Church of Health and Healing. And the reason why we did that is a few reasons. In fact, it's even evolved into more reasons. But initially, it was the church. I always knew this because I was a pastor for 25 years, missionary, that is under common law.
Yeah.
And then you have commercial law, with the corporations work, the government works. But common law has always been the church is free to religious freedom, to partake sacraments that you feel are good for you spiritually, physically, mentally. And we believe that this is a sacrament. So we started this church, and now in almost 4 years, we've trained up 1,000 people we call health ministers in over 95 countries, and we have 1,500 members. And the people that are members have the right, the God-given right, we believe, to ingest anything in our temple, our body, that we feel is good for us, and to produce them, grow them, whatever necessary to have our sacraments. And it's really growing tremendously around the world.
Yeah.
But it's very loose organization. You know, we want everybody to come. Atheists, come. It's a health issue. We're all spiritual. We might not all be religious. You don't have to believe in God to come and learn how to take care of your body. I mean, we don't put that on anybody. We have our creed consists of 5 things. There's a prerequisite to become a member of our church. Do good deeds, always do what's right, heal the sick, enlighten the world with truth, and I always forget the 4th one. Freedom for all mankind, the 5th one. Freedom for all mankind. Now, you'd have to be a pretty evil person, or a person we just wouldn't want a part of us if you didn't believe those 5 things. That's basically the moral code, the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Hammurabi's code in Babylon, you know, basically moral codes that everybody feels good about. Don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat, don't kill, those type of things.
Yeah.
So everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter. You can remain a member of your church. We're not trying to be an exclusive club here. You seek your spiritual guidance somewhere else. We're focusing on those 5 things.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's very interesting because when you contacted me, that's what really interested me a lot, was because you are right about the church and the I guess I would call it a religious aspect, because churches and religions are protected under a separate law than the corporate law that we're tied into, essentially. So you guys essentially figured out a way to work outside and still be free to take this stuff. And I understand from what I've been researching that you're the co-founder of the Genesis 2 Church with Jim Humble?
Yeah, Jim came and lived with us, my family and I, and we signed a pact. We decided we're going to start the church, and myself, my 3 sons, my 2 daughters, with Jim. And he had been a bishop from another church before, and I had been a reverend and a pastor, in which they also call that a bishop, and but from another church myself. So we formed this group. We signed a constitution, a plan. Basically, this is our belief, our creed, and a constitution that we believe it's right for everyone to be able to have this right to take care of their own health. Yeah. It's sacred. If you're not healthy, you're not happy, and everybody knows someone that's sick, and everybody doesn't want to be sick. So we're focusing on something. Everybody, no matter how old you are, what religion you are, what philosophy what culture you come from, everybody wants health.
And we all have a right to good health. We all should have that right.
And we shouldn't have to pay exorbitant amount of money to receive it. When you go back 150 years ago, they didn't have all these diseases that are, I believe, man-made by industrial toxins, by chemicals,
absolutely,
by medicines, by processed foods, and they're man-made. And I even think I'll go as far to say it was planned to control mankind like this. You go to the Georgia Guidestones, and you'll see in 6 different languages how they have a plan to depopulate the world from 7 billion down to 1 billion. And you can watch Bill Gates on YouTube say the same thing. And his favorite way to depopulate the world is vaccines. He says there's 5 ways. One, my favorite, is vaccines. And he's right from his own mouth. The medicines, food, GMOs, Planned Parenthood, abortions and sterilization, and education. Or miseducation.
Yeah.
Those 5 things they're planning.
Yeah, it's interesting too that you contacted me because you had watched one of my documentaries, Domino Effect, and the health issues and the pharmaceutical companies. That portion of the film really stood out to you, and you had to reach out to me, and that's how we got in touch.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and yeah, it's really awesome that you're on the same page as me as well when it comes to that, because you're fully aware that it's like you said, a lot of these diseases and illnesses seem like they are man-made or are results of these products that are just not tested properly, and then these new illnesses and diseases come about because of it. And we do have a right to health, I think, and you also see that the pharmaceutical companies are just there to rake in billions of dollars from their sales of their drugs, and they ridicule and refuse natural methods of curing.
Yeah, just follow the money. That's the way it's always been. Who benefits from these chemicals? Who benefits from these vaccines? I believe, like I told you, I've had doctor friends sacrifice their time to come help on the mission field. I don't say that all doctors or anybody in the medical profession is wicked. I don't say that. But I will say this. The pharmaceutical companies have lobbied for laws and for vaccines, for all these different, the FDA, most all of the heads after they leave the FDA, go to work for pharmaceutical companies. It's proven.
Yep.
You see the lobbying going on, all the drugs coming up. Now, I believe they want to push all the perks on these doctors, all the procedure manuals, the Merck manual, the physician's desktop reference guide, all these books in the colleges are heavily funded, are all written and sponsored by the pharmaceutical companies. So of course, they're good businessmen. They've got the blank check when they tell somebody, you've got a little sugar in your blood, take this pill for the rest of your life. That pill's the rest of their life they're taking that, or for high blood pressure, or diabetes, or whatever it is. And then there's pills for the side effects those cause. So they've got this mirage of drugs ready for you. As you see in the pill bottles, people have taking 10 or 15 a day.
Yeah, days of the week,
it's ridiculous.
like 10
Oh, it's
pills per
horrible.
day.
And you watch people 60 years old, crippled up. It's all these toxins. Never mind the pollutions in the air and the foods, the processed foods that are zero. The dairy industry, by the time you homogenize and pasteurize the dairy, it's useless. And lactose intolerance is your body rejecting, having an allergic reaction against all that stuff that they're giving you that is completely unrecognizable to the body. Now, raw milk, if you take pasteurized milk and take the things they worry about, E. coli, salmonella, botulism, cholera, and you put that in raw milk, it's dead. It doesn't grow because of the strong lactic acid. You put that in pasteurized milk, it explodes immediately. They did a study in Davis University in Northern California to prove that. The dairy industry is another thing that has crippled America.
Yeah.
We need to go back to natural, raw, 150 years ago, no GMOs, and Bill Gates owns 50% or they're close to of Monsanto. GMOs, your body looks at that stuff coming into the body, can't recognize that. What is this? It's all molecularly screwed up. It can't break it down. It's causing all kinds of allergic reactions and chronic pains and digestive problems because it shouldn't be there. But in its natural form, the body just says thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
the
I
Genesis
really
2, the Genesis 2 Church is, I guess there's different groups and organizations in several countries now. Like you guys have definitely expanded. You're based out of Dominican Republic, and I also see that there's also members of the church that are also based out of places like Mexico, United States, several countries around the world. So do you guys, is it like like I guess you could say a building that people can go to in the country to receive treatments, or is it where they could be to learn how to treat themselves? Could you explain that a little bit for people?
Sure. It's really all that. We start off by, we do these seminars and we tell people, start at your house church. You put up our sign, your credentials, you have a house church. And you could start teaching people workshops how to take care of their health through these sacraments, the cleansing waters we call it, the mineral salts, the clays. It's not just MMS. It's anything that works naturally. And there's many things out there. You'll see the medical marijuana they talk about all over the world, the oils. I've seen people take those oils and there's tumors just shrink within a matter of weeks, huge tumors. Very good stuff. And that's why I appreciated about your documentary, The Domino Effect, was things I've been studying and experiencing for 35 years. You put it all in all in a nutshell. So in fact, I told everybody at the seminar tonight, watch that. You want to get up to date what's going on around the world, why we're here, why we're staying. Watch that. Kid, he did a great job. And that's when I contacted you. I'm thinking, we're birds of a feather flock together, We're of one kindred spirit here. And it's not just us. There's people with free energy that want to make that available around the world. Could you imagine if you have the power of health in your hand, in your own house, taking care of your health and your own energy bills, own energy taken care of? That's 2/3 of why we work. Yeah. We can literally change this world with just focus on those two things. Everybody will be healthy. Everybody will have energy that's available to all of us free. And they already know how to tap into it.
Absolutely.
From Tesla to many other people that have showed how to do these things. Amazing stuff. So I'm sorry, I get off these rabbit trails, but so much going through my head right now. So you can do workshops. You become a health minister. We have in Bulgaria a big hotel up in the mountains of southern Bulgaria where we have people stay for 3 weeks. In Colombia, when I'm there, people could come down, rent an apartment for a month, pretty cheap there, and we'll see them day and night, get them on the detoxification, get them on the right diet, send them home, not only healthy or on their way to health, but also knowing what to do the rest of their life. And Mexico, Jim's down there, he's doing that. Let me see, in Prague, we have one. There's some people in England, just different places across south. There's one doctor in South Africa, owns a hospital. He's seeing 80 to 100 people a day, documenting it, so that after a year we're going to publish that. You've seen the thing with malaria. We're trying to get over into Asia. It's going through China. People are translating some of our material. And it's not because of any money. It's all just infectious. It's growing. It's a good disease, if you could say that. Yeah. It's growing, and it's very loose-knit organization here. We're not trying to control anybody. We standardize what we're doing, and we teach people how to do that and go. We're not trying to lock in or hold on to anybody. We really want to train up people to change this world. And so we just ecstatic how quick it's growing.
Yeah, it is. I've noticed in the last 2 years, from the internet, just from looking up videos, etc., I've noticed that there's a definite increase in people becoming more aware of this. And at the same time, this is also a very important element to all of this, which really drew me into learning more about it and researching more, and that was the resistance that is against this. First off, as we've seen at the video at the beginning of the broadcast, I know there's a couple viewers online right now that probably didn't see that because they came in a bit late, but there was a video where the guy was working for the Uganda Red Cross, and he went there to do field tests for the Red Cross, and they received 100% positive results. But something happened after that. He came back and presented this information, and the Red Cross is now totally against MMS treatment or anything like that. Actually, I want to read something out here just really quick for the viewers who might not be aware of this. I'm going to get it on screen just for a quick moment, and I'll read it out. And then if you can comment on that, that'd be amazing for sure. But I'm just going to get this Wikipedia article here, because this is what Wikipedia is saying. I typed in the word Jim Humble in the search engine, and there isn't even a Wikipedia for the man who founded this and for all the work that he's done. There isn't an article. Instead, it brings me to this article. And it says, miracle mineral supplement, often referred to as MMS, Master Mineral Solution, or MMS, is a toxic solution of 20, it says right here, toxic. You could click on the word toxic even, of 28% sodium chloride in distilled water. The product contains essentially the same ingredient as industrial strength bleach before activation with a food grade acid. So basically Wikipedia here is saying it's bleach. The name was first coined by Jim Humble in 2006 self-published book, The Miracle Mineral Solution, which is a book he said he read, that Mark said he read. A more dilute version is marketed as chlorine dioxide solution, CDS. MMS is falsely and dangerously promoted as a cure for HIV, malaria, hepatitis viruses, the H1N1 flu virus, common colds, acne, cancer, and more. So right there, you see Wikipedia saying this. Meanwhile, we just watched a video of Red Cross proving that 100% cure rate. They even went to the prison and they had this very, very successful cure rate. So I find that very... I mean, I've seen this with several topics on Wikipedia. They'll ridicule things like this.
Well, I don't like at all surprised, because if you know how Wikipedia runs, you people put things on there. We would put in the correct what's basically going on and all the facts about how chlorine dioxide is used worldwide, non-toxic. The LD50 is ridiculous amount, and we take 0.004% when it's taken with water. It's ridiculous to even talk about that. We put all this up, and Wikipedia takes it right off. They have people that are there, they take it right off.
Yeah.
They take it right off. We even had people we were paying to put it on, took it off. So we just said, you know what? We're not going to worry about that. Let's go get some more proof.
Yeah.
So we go get some more proof. We do more video testimonies. We've seen, I have HIV blood tests before and after 10 days on this. Before they were positive, after they were negative. We've got blood tests, tumors. We've got all the blood tests we've got all that. They're not going to listen. They're going to wipe it out. Who is going to wipe it out? Who owns the media? Who owns the pharmaceuticals? Those people, they own the media, the politicians are the pharmaceuticals, the bankers. Those are the ones that are going to lose the money.
Yeah,
So this is
Bilderberg,
what's
Rockefeller,
happening.
Rothschild,
Right,
all
they
these
say
people.
conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theory. Everything's a conspiracy. Everything has a agenda, right? Yeah. These people have an agenda.
It's well documented.
Yes, yeah. This is what I liked about your domino effect, New World Order. The only thing man's ever learned from history is man has never learned from history. And if you don't pay attention to the lessons of history, you're damned to repeat it. Yep. This is what people need to learn. Look at what they're doing. Look at what we're experiencing. Go back 150 years ago. Look where all these diseases come from. I'll give you a perfect case in point. Why should a dog or a cat have diabetes? What is that all about? Diabetes. Taking probiotics. A dog can lick the ass of his best friend, drink out of a puddle, and never get sick. Now they got probiotics? This is insanity. These food. Animals, you know why? Exactly. It's the food. They're eating the people food, the processed food, and they're getting vaccines. They're getting the same things the humans are getting. What more evidence do you need? I can't stress it enough. People just want to be blind, or they want the convenience of saying, "Doctor, what do I need to do? Take this? Okay, thank you."
Yep. It seems like the gatekeepers, as I like to call them, the globalists, are definitely against MMS. I had somebody in the chat room here say that CBC did an article saying MMS is dangerous. You're getting all these mainstream media sources who shape the world's opinion saying that it's dangerous, yet we see field tests, and you yourself, you're involved with this directly. I mean, you've been exposed to several of these diseases, working with people that are exposed to it, and you're not sick, you're alive and doing well.
But I had two of them. I had MRSA and dengue fever.
Yep.
My mother, 80 years old, had high blood pressure. My sister had herpes zoster for 25 years.
And herpes is something they say is incurable.
Yeah, just like AIDS. You know, let me tell you this. I don't know if you know this, Mark. When they test for the AIDS, when they do a blood test for HIV, they check for 47 autoimmune deficiencies. If you're a pregnant woman, sometimes they're falsely positive. If you've had a tetanus shot, A lot of times they're positive. Any autoimmune deficiency will pop up, you're HIV positive. The test is flawed from the beginning. And it's, to me, it's another plan that you could go back to Fort Detrick. You could go back to the Specker Memorandum, the U.S. Army being solicited to come up with biological warfare. And then this thing pops up destroys the T4 cell in Uganda, in L.A., where they're putting New York, Houston, San Francisco, where they're inoculating people with the hepatitis V vaccine. They all broke up with it. Mm-hmm. This is planned. This is causing the problem. Maybe they were practicing and went wild. Maybe if they didn't expect to do what it did. But this was man-made stuff.
Absolutely. And in William Cooper's book, Behold the Pale Horse, he provides documentation of them explaining in the book during seminars, the military was trying to find a disease or some sort of health thing that would be incurable, or at least that's what they would say, but it would be a killer, right? And shortly after that, AIDS all of a sudden appears out of nowhere. So AIDS, in my opinion, is a factory, or not a factory, it's a laboratory developed disease created by the government.
If you can get this, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you can get this article, the London Times, I think it was 1978, I'm thinking 78, not 76, on the front page of the London Times, there was a guy that walked in, that was involved with the WHO and the development of this with the Fort Detrick, the U.S. Army. He laid what he did, he felt so guilty, on the table of the London Times in 1978. I think it was April, and they put it on the front page. Only newspaper in the world that covered what this guy said. He was involved in the research. He publicized it to the paper. He came out and said, "This is what I did. This is what we did," and it broke out in Uganda. There were 15,000 Haitians working there. They were inoculated with the smallpox vaccine. They brought it to Haiti. So the homosexuals were inoculated in the United States in 4 cities, and intravenous drug users. So they thought it was a homosexual or a drug user epidemic, and that's broke out with them first. But we know it's not that case.
And that was the media portraying that. That was the media saying, "Yeah, here we go." And a lot of times the media will say, "Our sources claim that," and they never name their sources. They just say that because it's been fed to them by obviously intelligence agencies or somebody with a higher agenda that's pumping the news agencies with false information. So they'll just spew it out to the public and shape public opinion. And then you get places like Wikipedia and dictionaries with false information. They're actually writing history, but it's a fictional reality that they're writing. It's absurd.
No, you got that in religion. You've got them rewriting history, the history books. They're taking kids at 5 years old and incorporating them right into their system. Get up at 6, 7, eat your breakfast, go all day, come home at night, sit in front of the TV, play your computer games. Just get you in that system. And you become in that system from a very young age. I homeschooled all my children. My children speak 2 languages. They know how to fly an airplane. They know how to dive. They've been in countries all over the world. They've got exposure to many things. That's the best education in the world.
Absolutely.
Instead of being put into a box and try to live into that box and expect to the rest of your life, that's how they trained us. This is all planned. And we need freedom for mankind. Be free. So our part is to make them free as far as health is concerned, and it's amazing. And they've killed people for less. So I don't know. We're not afraid. I made my peace with God a long time ago, and I want to train up as many people as I can, and try to reach every country. We're basically in every country. We get letters from every country in the world where people have tried it, taken it, testimonies. But we've only have almost 100 countries now where we have somebody in that country trained up. But that's only 4 years. So by the time another 4 years comes, I hope to get there's only 195 nations, get the other 100 nations more or less, and have people trained up in centers in every country. This is what we want to do.
Is there certain countries that oppose this more than others? Like I'm assuming that United States and Canada are probably among the top ones that are opposing this or trying, because you got the FDA and all that stuff. I'm
Right.
sure that if has there, I remember reading articles on this that they're saying that it's a poisonous, toxic substance, but from what I've gathered from my research, only one person has ever had any negative health effects from this, and it's not even guaranteed linked to MMS.
Right. Right. There was some guy that supposedly gave it to his wife in Australia, and she died 8 hours later. And the autopsy never said anything. It was almost like, I don't know if the guy wanted to kill his wife or something. I have no idea. But MMS had nothing to do with it. But the media takes it and makes it sound like a fact. You know, they just run with it. Sodium chloride, okay? Sodium chloride is salt. That's 50%. If that's bleach, sodium chloride's bleach. Because if 50% molecule, they tell it when it turns into chlorine dioxide, it has a smell of chlorine. They put it in our water. They use it all over, everywhere. They put it on our vegetables. And if it's toxic, it's so toxic, why are they spraying it on the meats, the vegetables, in the canned goods, cleaning hospitals with it? Why are they doing this? If they can use it, if they make money from it, we can't use it to clean our body. It's just, it's not fair.
Yeah.
When I heard one person say, if you want justice, go to a whorehouse. If you want to get screwed, go to a courthouse. and I really think that's the case. In a whorehouse, you have honesty. I want this, you got this, give me that. Bill, aboard, truth. You go to a courthouse, it's lying, scheming. They have agendas. They're paying off people. They've got people that work for, people controlling those courts. You can't get justice in a court. You just can't do it.
Yeah, as soon as you enter the court and you agree with what they're saying and you say, I understand, you're giving up your rights to them. And that's not...
We're a church. We're not going to put up with that commercial law. That's out of our jurisdiction. We're not in their jurisdiction. If you go to that's why people go to churches for asylum, because the church is out of the jurisdiction of the police and the local governments. The IRS code 508, not 5031C, that tries to get the churches because of tax exemption. They can get tax exemption. They trick them into doing it. But the code 508 says churches first and governments need not apply or give any account of what we're doing. And it put the churches before the governments. So they recognize the free church is under the common law, And we're not tied to any corporate law at all. And this is why we have the right to do what we're doing. And we have a $5 million suit being put together against the FDA. The FDA can approve something now in 3 to 6 months called fast track without any clinical trials if the drug company pays $200 million. They get it without any clinical trials.
And that money to them is nothing. It's easy for them to do it. Considering the profits that they're going to make in the end, it's worth it for them to do this.
There's drugs, they've killed people, been sued. They figure, well, we're going to make $5 billion. If they sue us, we'll have to give up $1 billion. Either way, we're going to make money. And then they kill people. They take it off, change the name, put it back on again. And the FDA is just prostitutes in the back pocket of the pharmaceuticals. That's all they are. Kind of like the Federal Reserve to the bankers of the world. That's all they are. It's sick. If you know history, you can check it out and see if we're lying. This is how it started. These are the people that own it. Since the 1920s, when Carnegie and Rockefeller took over the pharmaceuticals, universities,
the schools.
It's all to make money now.
Yeah,
and to make money.
As soon as they infiltrated the education systems, that's training doctors to stay within a certain guideline when treating or prescribing things for people. They're not allowed to step outside of that, and if they do, they get fired. They lose their jobs. They can receive actually they could be sued for the differences that for the choices they made that affected the pharmaceutical companies. It's really all about money, and it's really disgusting.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible. It's
You were explaining earlier in the interview how was it Colombia that somebody was kidnapped?
Yeah, it's not funny. It wasn't funny then, but we had a guy that was going. One of our health ministers, We were looking for a place to do another malaria trial. This was before Uganda. Besides what Jim did in Africa, in Malawi, 800 people, he documented that, and they still don't believe it. So we did another one. You know, the bottom line is they're not going to believe it, no matter how many we do, because they own the media, and they're going to make. So we're trying to do things like this to promote it. So we had a health minister down there. We went down, taught him how to do it. He went down to the people, and because we had switched from the drops of MMS to a weaker one called CDS, that's weaker, but you can really go up high with it but make it stronger. But we tried to make it equal, and it just didn't do it within the 2 or 4 hour period. So they thought it was a CIA agent. So they locked him. I mean, they handcuffed him, took all the test things we brought down, all the stuff we sent him with, his camera and everything. And because he'd been going down there and familiar with a lot of the people, some nurses knew him, and they finally, within a couple hours, released him. But it's kind of scary for him. Mm-hmm. So when we went to Uganda, we just started using the drops in a stronger amount than the CDS, something we hadn't practiced with. But we will eventually do that too. But we know the drops work every time, 100% of the time. So it's just easier to use the one you know than to try to practice with a variation of it. And so that's what happened there. But it was for about 6 hours, he was afraid. I mean, they had guns in his face. And the FARC, you know, the paramilitary down there, they thought it was CIA sent in or somebody working for the Colombian government. So, but he's okay, and he's helped a lot of people since then. And we've got a few other countries we're looking at now that have horrible amounts of malaria cases and dengue even, but mainly malaria that we want to go into. And we're trying to raise funding even for the clinical trials that everybody wants. And even if we get those done, they don't want cures, Mark. There's no money in a cure. Yeah. There's no repeat customers.
That's why I see they're suppressing this. That's the exact reason why they are suppressing MMS, in my opinion, is because it cures and treats so many different illnesses. I mean, when you have that wide of a range of effect rate and confirmation rate of healing and curing, they don't want that. It's going to put a lot of people out of business, and they are going to fight tooth and nail to keep their profits that they have.
Yeah, all they do is, like BBC did something on TV the other night. They went to one of our seminars, sent someone into I can't even think sometimes in English. Infiltrate. I can't. We speak Spanish so much I forget English words.
BBC sent somebody to infiltrate?
Yeah, I'll send you the link. But they never do anything right. You know, they never give the clear picture. It's just slanted because someone's got an agenda there. So they heard a couple of things in the seminar about some tumors falling off of this guy after taking it. Then they try to they just say it's bleach. They just say it's bleach. It's bleach. I sent the BBC 3 years ago. They were going to do an interview with us. All the different applications around the world, how it's non-toxic, all the things they would want. They didn't even put it out. Mm-hmm. They mentioned Jim Humble and MMS, and then they talked to this kid that was poisoned by bleach, a 16-year-old kid. They spent the rest of the time on it. So after that, I said, BBC will never do an interview with you unless it's live. Then we can get out what we're trying to say before it's edited. And you know they'll never do that.
Yeah, so they'll always edit. Again.
Yeah. Right. So they attacked again, and the other night. But, you know, it's almost kindergarten stuff. They make it, oh, these people are trying to hide something. Go to our videos. They won't put them there. They won't send them to our sites. They try to get somebody in the street that we've told not to talk to him. Hey, what do you do? What's this? Why are you running? He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to talk to you. Because we don't know what they're talking about. We don't have any idea why they're talking to us like that. If they were really looking for truth and they were investigative reporters, they could find it all over the internet, how sodium chloride, chlorine dioxide is used in many applications for hundred years. And they would find it. So they're not looking for that. They're being paid by whoever's backing the BBC, whoever's putting money into that, funding it, whether it's Bill Gates, whether it's pharmaceuticals. And I bet you if you really researched it, you'd find that they're just trying to defend those guys. And BBC is supposed to be respected. But they're just, to me, they're just prostitutes. They're just for money.
They have an agenda.
They're just like the rest of it.
You could tell. You could tell that you're onto something, though, when you have the mainstream media sources ridiculing you so much and attacking you so much, and you know, you have stories of people being kidnapped. You know, you have the Red Cross, the video that we watched earlier, and then you have them refuting it. I also seen an article about how you were poisoned once, or you believe that you were poisoned.
Yeah, well, I know it was. It had to be because, and 20 minutes after I was given. Now, this is the story. We're at our graduation, and there's a group of about 45 people there at one of our seminars. And one of them, I think, that did it was from the Ukraine. But anyways, maybe I'm wrong. But I went up, I dismissed myself, getting ready to eat. I had a little margarita. You know, we're in Mexico. We're talking. I went to the bathroom. 5 minutes, came back, and I noticed my margarita was changed. The food came. I didn't think anything of it. Ate a piece of steak, ate a piece of lobster, which I'm a diver. I'm from New Hampshire. Growing up eating lobster my whole life, I have no allergies to seafood, any kind of seafood. So I drank the margarita, a good hit off it, about a third of it, and it was kind of bitter. I didn't pay much attention to it. Just talking with the guy next to me. 5 minutes later, everything just kind of went black, and I fell on the floor paralyzed. I could hear and see everything. I just could not move. I'm hearing people like, he's drunk. Call the ambulance. I'm like, no, don't call the hospital. No, I couldn't say anything. But Jim was there, and he got a big bunch of this, as we call CDS, and what I was just telling you about. They just threw it down my throat, force-fed me. And about 5 minutes later, they picked me up. By then, I was starting to talk. I got to vomit. I went to the bathroom, vomited this bright yellow, fluorescent, looked like Prestone antifreeze into the toilet. And because the MMS neutralized the poison, and it made me vomit it up. And I was probably 80% better right then. I laid down for about an hour, drank a little water. Then I urinated the same color as what I vomited up. So basically the rest of it come out. About 2 hours later, I was back talking to people. But that was, I was poisoned. And that's how the poisons react. It was a neurotoxin someone gave me. It might have been antifreeze. And it was really strange tasting in my margarita. But while I was laying there on the floor, those people were laughing from the Ukraine, that woman. I was thinking, I bet you she did this to me. And so that's the story there.
Have you had any has anything else happened to you, like similar, or anybody, like, have you had any, like, really strong opposers when you're at seminars or anything like that?
Yeah, I've had a couple, but not too much. In fact, you know what's happening now? Just about every seminar, we have a few doctors come now and listen. And really, we don't even care if they're spies there. I will educate them too. This is just truth. You don't have to defend it. You just give it out. It defends itself. And if anybody has any kind of conscience or any kind of morals about them, or any kind of, they seek truth, they'll see, hey, these guys, all they're doing is telling the results of what's happening. And personally, and how they're treating other people. Excuse me. And so, no, I can't think of anything else off the top of my hands. I'm always looking now. I always carry some stuff with me in case they poison me again. But I don't know.
Yeah, that must have been after that.
I'm not going to live in fear.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I totally commend you for keeping forward with this after such an event like that. I mean, like you said, it couldn't have been the seafood, and your margarita was switched. I mean, your drink was switched. Yeah. It's pretty obvious what happened there.
And then the color of that stuff, really strange.
Mm-hmm. And that's, it's, vomiting does naturally clear your stomach. I mean, if you went to a hospital, they'd do the exact same thing. They'd give you charcoal to induce vomiting. When you could do it on your own, it's the same thing. It's cleaning your body out.
Sure.
So,
or raw milk, not pasteurized milk, raw milk will absorb, the fats will absorb all the toxins. But you can't get raw milk these days. I find it wherever I'm at, but most people, I can't buy in the stores. No, there's too much lobbying among the dairy industry to ever try to find it unless you what they co-op, own part of the cow, something like that, or get your own cow.
Yeah.
But the milk, the dairy is so important. The cheeses, the butters, it's incredible how important that stuff is, especially in our toxic lives. The fats hold toxins till the bodies can eliminate them. And the fats are good, strong things. You need the fats. You'll never get fat eating fats, those kind of fats. Everybody gets fat from carbohydrates, not from fats.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is what I was telling in the beginning, how the church is evolving into more with a message, you know what I'm saying? With health all around, holistic health.
Yeah. And that's really amazing that you guys are doing that. So I was just wondering if you could list some of the illnesses or diseases that MMS or CDS has had positive results for.
Well, it's almost comical because it's everything on the list. We just showed a video last night. You could go to MMS testimonials on YouTube, and there's like 54 testimonies from autism to basically pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, brain cancer. We've got herpes, hepatitis A, B, C, MS, gastritis. We have on our site, genesis2church.org, we have lists of the diseases with written testimonies, and they'll say, oh, anybody can write them. All right, so we do video testimonies. Well, you can have actors. What do you want us to do to prove to you that this is happening? We sit, like tomorrow I'm going to do, I think I get 10 more videos to record of people just come in. What's your name? What did you have? What did you do? And what was the results? Unscripted.
Never met them before, yeah.
Script in front of them. Oh no, I met them. They're at the seminar, but yeah, 95% of them I've never met before since they came to the seminar for 2 days.
Yeah, and it would be impossible to fake that many testimonies because somebody would obviously eventually come forward and say, "Oh, I faked mine" or something. That the truth would get out, like you said earlier. The truth always gets out, right?
Right. Some of them will say, "Contact me," put their email there. Call me. I'll tell you what I did. If your children had autism, we could get them out of the autism, which is directly caused by the mercury in the aluminum, the formaldehyde, mainly the mercury in the vaccines. American kids, I believe by the time they're 7, have 40 to 50 vaccines. I only had one, and my vocal cord was paralyzed back in 1976.
Yeah, and you got the polio vaccine too, with the cancer epidemic contributing to that big time. Like the book Dr. Mary's Monkey by Edward Haslam explains that very well.
Exactly. About the guy, was his name Salk? What was his name? The guy that developed that? I saw a video with him.
Salk from the Salk Institute. Yeah.
Yeah. He
Johann
developed
Salk.
that. They said they put viruses within that for diabetes and cancer within those things, and only 10% of the population was inoculated, and they said it wiped out polio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, it's time. What's nice about one of our 5 things that you need to believe to become a member is enlightening those with the truth. The world is being enlightened. I really believe it. That's why they don't want so many of us. That's why they don't like this internet. We're live. If I could do this with BBC, you could imagine, if I could do this with BBC, they'd ask me questions, whatever question they want to ask me, and I could give me a chance to answer it. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and they would be highly edited. You'd do an hour interview, and you'd get like a 3-minute video out of it. And you won't see this video edited, This video here will not be edited. It'll be as is, posted afterwards. You'll even see yourself. unless there's like an error where we get disconnected and the end of the conversation a little bit is cut out. Other than that, it's totally unedited. And that's the greatest thing about alternative media is we don't edit our videos. We want people to know the truth. We have nothing to hide. We want the truth to come out. And I love that the Genesis 2 Church is all about awareness and enlightening and educating the individuals.
Anybody. I'd like to put up, with your permission, that video on our church site. I want people to see it. Yeah. Because it's in a nutshell, it covers everything from the Illuminati, the political, what happened in the history of the world to what we got now, to basically what's going on and why. I really, really enjoyed it because I had a radio broadcast as a pastor in Boston back in the 80s, and I'd bring people on to controversial things. I know what it's like. You just get the truth out. Get the truth out to people. I really appreciate that about you, and I hope people are listening to us. This is real. You can have your health back. And now we're incorporating nutritional aspects that people haven't even heard of before that are incredible, that are bringing people, just that can detoxify you. Now we got the best of both worlds. We got a quick detoxifier, and we got nutrition to build up the immune system, because this body is what heals. MMS is a detoxer. This is the healer right here. This is the doctor. If you feed it what it needs correctly, it can produce what it needs, what it lacks. A chicken eats, the dirt and the worms and things, picks up the phosphorus, magnesium and stuff, and produces calcium. This body, if you give it the right ingredients, nutrients, and minerals, it will produce whatever it needs. Yeah. And build an immune system up that you won't get sick.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes I'll go without eating. I'll fast for a bit, and that's cleansing my body. It's detoxing because you're not putting anything in that's foreign. So you're expending it, it's getting out, and then if you don't intake anymore, then it's no harm done. And that's very important. The antioxidants and cleansers and stuff. It does clean your body out, and that's what's needed, because a lot of people aren't aware even that GMOs and all this food that we're intaking, even the water, the fluoride in that, it's harming our bodies. It is harming us. It's got negative health effects. And when there's something like MMS that comes around that'll clean you out and stuff, it's a wonderful thing. And a lot of it too is the power of the mind. Your mind can cure itself a lot of times, just by
your mind controls the body, and the body does the curing. Sure. Yeah. Sure, that's definitely part of it. But it's amazing what's happening. We're excited about it. We're trying to train up more people to do what we're doing around the world. So simultaneously, every month have 5 or 10 seminars going on around the world, educating the people how they can restore their health and protect themselves from such a toxic environment we live in today.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Toxic environment. That's what it is for sure. What would you say is the most inspirational or heartwarming experience you've had working and doing what you do? Because I'm sure you have several stories of positive results.
And in Colombia, I remember a girl, 4th stage leukemia. The parents are crying. The girl's 12 years old. They're thinking, she's going to grow up to be a young lady. And, it's just sad to see this little girl die. But she goes through the protocols. We give them a month later. Doctor says leukemia is gone. Lady that's sent home to die, and teacher, loves teaching. She sent home to die. They cut off her breast. 4th stage cancer metastasized into the other organs. She goes home to die. Her cousin, to her neighbor, I forget which one, told her about MMS and what we're doing, protocol. 6 weeks later, she's cancer-free. I got a picture of her and her son, this happy mother, my mom's alive, and on and on and on. People that came over to Bulgaria. When I was in South Africa, people we never treated, but the other people did, that learned a year before, just lined up people from these townships. I had this problem in my stomach. I had this cancer. I had this diabetes. And just going through, you're like, wow. In Europe, at Prague, we were in Prague. There was a guy with prostate cancer, brought his doctor with him. His doctor was convinced, showed the blood test before and after. He was dying, 4th stage, on his deathbed. He's up happy. That day we had 300,000 emails in one day in Czech Republic. That guy's doing great over there. The one guy that's gone through our courses and learned about MMS. England, we get all over the world we get testimonies coming in. I'm just trying to think. My own family, there's so many. It's hard for me to. Just the last week we did some video testimonies in Michigan. The girl had lung cancer, and she's a hairdresser. You know, they're doing all those toxins, breathing it in as they're doing it in their hair, washing it out. She was literally coughing up hairballs from her lungs. We have people testimonies coughing up tumors from their lungs from a different protocol we do through breathing and drinking it, and she's cancer free. The guy that come over in 10 days was HIV negative to HIV positive. Breast lady comes over with 9 tumors on this breast, 1 on this one, and in 3 weeks you couldn't even find any tumor here, and the big one over here was a third of the size. I could go on and on and on from the different things we've dealt with. People that have gastritis their whole life couldn't eat what they wanted, eating anything they want now. Not that that's good.
Yeah, have you had results with Crohn's? Because Crohn's is very common as well. It's becoming more common.
Yep. We have a couple written testimonies on our Genesis2Church.org site. I don't know if we have any on the MMS testimonies on YouTube, but we're gathering more all the time. You know, it's hard to get people with AIDS or HIV. We do have an HIV one there, an Indian guy from Canada. He was cured of HIV, but it's hard to get people with AIDS and herpes for some reason to do video testimonies. Like they don't want to admit they ever had it. But we get a few here and there, and we have some written ones. But every kind of cancer, from brain to colon to breast to bone to leukemia to
so yeah, you guys stay
pancreatic.
You guys essentially stay under the radar, and I've watched videos with Jim Humble. I've watched several actually with interviews with him, and he definitely seems like a very great man, very wise individual, very dedicated to helping people, and that's all he really wants is to help people out. And through the videos I was watching, I noticed that obviously you guys have met a lot of resistance. What do you think it's going to take for the FDA or even like in my country, Health Canada, health agencies around the world? What's it going to take for them to see this?
Well, what it's going to take is to shut those organizations down, because they exist only to promote the pharmaceutical agenda. So they need to be shut down. They're not trying to help the people. We don't want to keep them. FDA needs to be done away with. In Health Canada, whatever they call it over, because they're not looking out for the rights of the people. They're not looking out for the health of the people. So there are organizations that should not exist. Iceland. You see what Iceland did a few years back? They put all the bankers in jail, threw out the politicians, re-elected honest people. Now everybody's debt-free, owns their own home, and in Iceland. That's what we need to do in this country, well, any country. Get rid of these special interest groups. That's what I call them. FDA is a special interest, or run by special interest groups. Get rid of them. They're not looking out for us. Next, there'll be breast milk, illegal. You can't give your kids breast milk because it wasn't pasteurized or homogenized. I mean, ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's one guy, an old preacher, a long time ago in Texas. I'll never forget what he said. He said, America is an insane asylum run by the inmates. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what's going on today. We need people to stand up and say, no more, that's it, I'm done. Since they've done vaccines, all the diseases gone up. The autism was created. Many other things have popped up, new diseases directly related to toxifying the body with mercury, aluminum, formaldehyde, all kinds of stuff. The chemtrails, I'm a pilot, all through the skies. Those are not exhaust of airplanes. There's barium in there. There's, what do they call it? Thiamium?
Oh yeah, thymine or something like that.
Yeah, aluminum, all
Yeah,
kinds of stuff
soft
going on in the
metals.
atmosphere. We got stuff. Listen to this. You ever hear of Magellan's disease?
No.
It's like little worm like. Well, look up Magellan's, Morgellons, Magellan's. It's like little worm like things that come out of their skin. They're like translucent. They feel like this worms all underneath their skin. And you put it under a microscope, and it's got serial numbers on it. Can you believe that?
What?
It's coming from the sky. Look up Magellan's. We have a guy here today that was telling us about after he's looking under the microscope. He had it. They had serial numbers. Some people seen pharmaceutical names on it. It's coming from the air. People are breathing it in, and it's what they call nanotechnology.
Yeah.
It's not even organic. It's chemical. It's nano. What do they call it? Nano. Technology.
Yeah, nanobites. It's like
Yeah, it's another term. Nano something. I forget the name of it. But anyways, it's crazy. It's called Magellan.
so he pulled
we
a worm
developed
out. He pulls this worm out of his skin and looks at it under a microscope, and there's a serial
Yeah.
number on that.
Yeah.
What he probably thought at one time was a biological object,
Yeah,
but obviously it's
exactly.
synthetic.
Unbelievable. And they'll say, no, that never happened. We're going to record some of these things tomorrow. We're going to record some of these.
What did you? Could you spell that out for me again? I want to write this down here.
Morgellons. M-O-R. I think it's G-H-E-L-O-N-S. It might be double L.
Okay.
But you just get close to it. You'll find it on a search. Horrible stuff. People said that it feels like there's all worms all under their skin.
Wow, that's
moving around.
And you think that
Unbelievable.
You think that's a result of the chemtrails?
Yeah, directly related to that. He believes it too. He says where he lives there's all kinds of chemtrails, and I think that you could see what different people are saying around the world, and there's more proof and other reasons why, but I can't tell you right off the top of my head. But unbelievable stuff popping up.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the animals are getting all the diseases of the people tells you it's from the toxins, the vaccines, and the foods. That's what they're doing to us. The vaccines and the foods. Get rid of the vaccines, change the foods to natural, wholesome. Guess what? It goes away.
Yeah, and you're not seeing these illnesses in developing countries because they don't have mass-produced factory foods. They're eating more farm-grown agriculture foods that is family or heirloom seeds, so it's traditionally grown in the country for many years. But then you've got companies like Monsanto coming in, cross-contaminating, or trying to gain rights or distribution rights, really, or production rights on certain crops in many countries. It's crazy what's going on.
It's a horrible. But you know what? I'm encouraged because every seminar I get more people think just like us. They're going, you know what? I've been reading. I'm an independent thinker. I'm not a sheeple. I'm not just walking blindly down just being led like cows.
Yeah.
Like you feel in airports, you're being corralled all the time, trying to control us. We're free people. This is our message to the world. We want everybody to be free. So we're going to try to help you health-wise. Open up your mind, open up your eyes to what's going on there. Like some of the things that you said in your documentary. Things like that. Free energy. We can break the shackles and of these people, and there's only a small percentage that run this world. Maybe less than 1%.
Mm-hmm.
This is all. There's so many of us. We just need to stand up and say no more.
Yeah.
We want health, and with health comes peace and contentment and love and kindness and happiness.
All the beautiful things in life. I mean, if you look at the news and you look at the movies and the music that's being promoted by these media sources, it's all violent, it's all negative, it's meant to decrease your potential as a human being, when really I think for us to advance and develop as a species on this planet, we need to become more independent ourselves through knowledge, learning, education, learning to take care of ourselves, build our own homes, provide our own energy, feed ourselves, all that stuff. Those are the solutions to the problems. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it used to be.
So we're de-evolving.
Lazy.
We're de-evolving
Right.
as a species. It seems
Yeah.
like we're getting dumber. It's like that little image you see of the apes growing into the man or whatever. It's really reversing into some, I don't even know what you would call us, like sheeple, I guess.
Well,
Man to sheep.
Stephen Hawkins, he's an evolutionist and most probably, they say he's the most intelligent man this century, probably equal to like Albert Einstein. He said his one book he wrote, he said, I should have never wrote that. The more I learn about the creation or the universe, I see this intelligent creation.
Yeah.
So there's something that made this with order and
Absolutely.
design. And people want to come up with all kinds of excuses. Acknowledge the fact of it. It's all energy. Someone created it. It's too orderly in perfection and design to not have
Was that
intelligent creation.
that was Stephen Hawking's book? I think A Brief History of Time. I think that might have been the
maybe that
one.
was it.
And he was like
Might
later
have
on.
been
It
it.
was a very famous book, and he later on said, "Oh, this can't be. I was probably wrong about this."
Yeah,
And
Big Bang Theory and things like that.
yeah.
But
And that's a show, right? That's one of the most popular shows being heavily marketed right now by the Illuminati media moguls, and that is Big Bang Theory. And that they want you to believe in evolution. They want you to believe that the Big Bang is how we all got here, when really there's a much deeper story that they're hiding. And even on the intro to that show, you see the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati flash right for a second, right? So that it's right there in front of our face to see. For
on
sure.
the dollar bill.
Yeah.
On the dollar bill. It says in Latin, the birth of a new secular order, and then in English it says, "In God we trust." I mean, a new secular order means without God, and in God we trust underneath it. Whatever they don't want you to find out, they put it in Latin, or they, like the doctors, they tell you some big long word that you can't understand when they could tell you in common language.
Yeah.
They can tell you in easy to be understood words, but they don't. They want to keep it secret, and to try to keep it away from you, to not let you know I'm smarter than you because I can tell you this big long word, staphylococcus and aerial mercilinaries. Whoa, what's that? He must be smart.
Yeah.
No, he's not very smart. Those doctors, most of them just
Textbook doctors.
study. Exactly, and I'm not saying they're all bad people. They're in the system. They're used to getting the perks. They're used to getting the money. They're used to getting the high paying. They've got heavy in debt. Most doctors are like $500,000 in debt when they start their practice. So they're already slaves to try to get out of debt. And they'll do anything they can to get out of debt as quick as they can. And a lot of doctors are coming out too, coming to us and say, "You're right. We're finding this out. We know. We've seen us inject a kid, and 2 weeks later he comes back having seizures and having autistic moments or ADHD or whatever they want to name it. All these things happening to these kids. We see cancer patients. Do you know where chemotherapy came from?
That's radiation
Mustard gas.
treatment.
No, mustard gas. In the First World War, they found that when they used mustard gas, it killed it killed everything, good, bad, everything in the body. So they figured, you know what? We know it kills cancer because it kills everything. Let's use it for treating cancer. It came from mustard gas. Isn't that crazy?
That's unbelievable.
Insane.
That's,
And guess another thing. Let me mention this. In the First World War, guess what they cured gangrene from in the U.S. Army? Chlorine dioxide.
yeah.
That's what they used to cure gangrene
Yeah,
in the First World War.
The story of Jim, how he came across to realizing that this worked. He always knew it worked for certain things, but apparently a worker he was working with fell ill due to something very serious, a deadly disease, and he remembered this from his past or something, and he gave it to him, and he was fine right after that. Do you think that's the first time that MMS kind of was discovered, I guess you could say?
Well, the first time it was discovered was in the jungles, I told you, in where he was at. He might have been toying with it before, but he ran into this malaria group. Well, it was workers that in this mine that they were dealing with in the jungles of Guyana, and they came sick with this, and he had this stuff called stabilized oxygen. He gave it to the guy, hit the acid in the stomach. He didn't know what was going on at the time. Made chlorine dioxide. 5 out of the 6 guys, 4 of them were better in about 6 hours. The other 2 took a few more days of drinking the stuff. That's when he perfected it to a stronger dose. And now 100% of the time, that parasite's killed. And he had no idea it was going to do all these other diseases.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a good side effect, like I said before.
Yeah. Has there been any doctors or groups like that are considered, I guess you could say, I wouldn't consider it too professional, but like professional groups or doctors that have came forward and said, yes, this does work? Testimonies from doctors or anything?
Only the ones we've dealt with as health ministers. I've got a guy that deals with it in Southern Colombia. We got a guy there in Mozambique, South Africa. Some people in Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, on the border of used to be called what was it, Burma?
Oh yeah.
Now it's called Myanmar. I don't know. Can't remember how to say it, but it's on the border of Thailand. Different places around South America. There's one called Chagas. We went out. Listen to this story. It's even called the 7 Gates of Senamine on YouTube. We went to this group of Indians called the Awakos in northern Colombia, where it's like going back 5,000 years. All nothing. They just live like they lived 5,000 years ago. Grow their own food, live in huts, no lights, nothing modern. And a lot more way back than the Mennonites. They look like little huts. They wear these caps, and everybody wears a uniform that they sew themselves out of the stuff they make from these plants. They make this fabric. It's incredible. But anyways, we go up there, and one of the daughters of the chiefs and her boyfriend were taking MMS. They brought us up there. We had to literally go through 7 gates, and you're not allowed into their property because they're a sovereign nation unless you have permission. Well, we had permission. We got there. We went to a place called Saint Amin, and people would come from 6-7 hours away through the mountains. And what was happening with those people were every month they were getting vaccinated. Why would you do that? Well, 25 years ago, there were 85,000 of them. Presently, there's 40,000. What they're doing every month, they're sterilizing the people. And guess why? This northern part of Colombia, emeralds, gold, diamonds, oil, and only these people, these 40,000 people, are in the way. So if you vaccinate them like you're trying to help them, you're sterilizing them. Now they're having less children. They're getting chronically sick, not with the diseases with the processed foods, but with the chronic diarrhea, women being sterile, so having female menstrual problems, fevers, just weird diseases, a lot of skin diseases, can't sleep, a lot of digestive problems, kids starting to get symptoms of autism.
Who was administering these shots?
The government. So listen what happened. We went there, and we got them. We explained what's going on. They get rid of all the vaccines because they can do that. They're their own nation. They took the government. We don't want any more of your vaccines. And so it's been a year and a half now. We've been treating these people. We have a documentary when we first went up there, and that was the name of it. But you go up now, we're finding out that the women are starting to get pregnant again, and now they're happy because that was their whole life. The guys had 3 or 4 wives, 15 kids, and it was all about family. You're blessed. You're having a bunch of kids to carry on, and people were dying, cutting back, sterilized, and so now they're getting pregnant again. They're back to where they were. They're not having all these chronic little things caused by the vaccines. Mm-hmm. And they'll be happier. So I'm going back soon and doing another, a year and a half later, see what's happening, video, updating the world, what's going on there.
That's awesome. That documentary is called The 7 Gates of
Senamin. Seynimin.
Yeah, I seen that actually. I didn't watch it, but I seen it listed on there. So
yeah, my sons, myself and my two sons went up there, spent about 5 days, and really neat people. And that's one tribe out of 85 tribes in Colombia. And that's just one country. I mean,
Yeah.
the world's big, and we got
Yeah,
a
and
lot of work to do.
you have Bill Gates, like, saying about the vaccines, population control, sterilization, all that stuff.
He's
So
telling
it's,
you.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
telling us, and it's obviously
He's saying-
true. It's obviously true because you're a witness firsthand of a tribe who's not exposed to modern life, and the government's giving these guys vaccines, and all this is happening. So that's proof right there.
Sterilize.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
Georgia
don't know.
Guidestones,
So I don't know what you can do with proof, because how much proof can we give people? You know, you just have to go to people one at a time, grassroots, reach people, and keep getting these testimonies, keep training people. And that's all I know to do.
And that's what you're
Um,
doing for Genesis 2 Church, is getting testimonies, doing seminars, promoting
Right.
the wellness and health of people,
Right.
which is a really
Right.
noble thing. And it's definitely awesome that you're doing that, definitely.
Well, we enjoy it too. That's what's so funny. We were cured ourselves. It's like, I used to tell people when I was a pastor, you should tell people about God, because if you had to cure cancer and you didn't tell me, what would you think? Or if I had to cure cancer and you had cancer and I didn't tell you, what would you think of me? Oh, that'd be horrible. Man, now we have the cure for cancer
Yeah.
and many other things, and I gotta tell people. I have to. It's great. And the more people with us, they tell more people, and they tell more, and it's just all up to the numerology, the mathematics. Excuse me. If we just kill enough people, it's gonna grow exponentially. It's just gonna keep growing.
Yeah.
And but we need to get rid of these agencies. We need to change these governments, and because that's just horrible what they do.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
don't protect us. Get rid of the pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, I'm not saying get rid of the doctors, but doctors in hospitals should be more like mechanics. You get in an accident, you're having a baby, they fix your bones, they deliver your babies. I mean, I delivered mine, but most people feel better, husbands especially, have a doctor do it. So
Yeah, you got to be careful with
mechanics-
that, though, because in the hospitals, the doctors will inoculate your children right away,
Yep.
and they won't even tell you
Right.
about it. I had 2 children born in a hospital. I was there the whole time that they were being born. I even snipped their umbilical cord, and right after each child was born, they brought them in a back room where we couldn't see them, and they inoculated them. They injected them, they took their blood, they did all sorts of things right away as soon as they were born. And that's scary, you know what I mean? That's happening to everybody that's having children in a hospital.
We've had that happen, right? But the good news is this, Mark. My daughter she was pregnant and had a friend pregnant, and they were both doing the protocol we call Protocol 1000, just detoxifying while they were pregnant. And they went in for their checkup, and the doctor said, you need this vaccine, you need this, MMR, mumps, measles, rubella, you need this. And told my daughter, and they're both like, we take it, we did it. We hear the doc, and they literally done it. And well, my daughter didn't, excuse me, the girlfriend did. My daughter knew better. And what's happening is it's detoxifying, it's taking out the heavy metals. That's what's really cool. That's why we're curing the autism. It's taking the mercury, the lead, the aluminum, any residual ness of the vaccines will come out. And so get your kids on this stuff because you'll get it out of their body. So
Yeah.
nobody learn long-term effects. Get that mercury out of there, that formaldehyde.
Yeah, and
out
that
of
stuff
there.
stays in your body because it's like it's a metal, so it's in your
Yeah.
body, and it's hard to get rid of. It is, and that's why people are taking silver to clean themselves out, because they take that silver
Silver.
and yeah. So and
Yep.
gold as well too. Apparently, if you have that, it's good for you as well. But it's not like mercury. Mercury is definitely a toxin for sure.
Mercury, yeah, it's a neurotoxin.
Mhm.
It's the most toxic element, I think, on the periodic table. It's
Mhm.
the most toxic.
And it's
Mercury,
found in
I
a
mean,
lot of common products, household products and stuff too, like aluminum lights and stuff. I believe have some of the light bulbs have mercury in it and stuff like that. So if you burst a light bulb and you get a cut from it or something, you're gonna have mercury poisoning.
Yeah.
It's scary
Well, the
stuff.
Black Plague You remember the Black Plague?
Mm-hmm.
That was, people thought that was a disease, a plague caused by a bacteria or something, right? And they found out they all burned coal. And when you burn coal, it produces mercury. And that's what was killing the people. The mercury had nothing to do with a bacteria or a virus.
Wow.
But they've changed history. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't even get the truth out of a history book. You have to search and search. And that's why they want to shut down the internet. You know, they want to shut it down because they don't want, knowledge is power.
Yeah,
You know?
a lot of my videos are blocked on worldwide on YouTube. I mean, the Rob Ford video I just did, that got taken off of YouTube. I mean, that's what's, they're highly suppressing the information, filtering it out. YouTube, Google, Yahoo, all these things are there to filter out what you're allowed to post and stuff. It's pretty sad.
They're coming up with some parallel internets now that are completely, what do they call it? You know, they're decoded.
Oh,
what do you
yeah.
call it? Scrambled.
Encryption, yeah.
Encrypted, that's the word.
Yeah.
Encrypted. And I'm hoping we can get involved with some of those. There's a free internet that can't be censored.
Nice.
And we need that. We need that in this world. Because the newspapers, the media, if you even look at the movies, they're telling us stuff in the movies that they want to do, or before they even do it.
Oh yeah, 10
It's
years,
incredible.
20 years. Look at the
Incredible.
movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. That had so much stuff that's happening now. We're gonna soon be drinking our food because people won't have time to make a meal. They're gonna be drinking food in cups. Like, here's a chicken in a glass. It takes 2 seconds to drink it. That's not healthy, you know. It's crazy.
There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. You know, they can clone animals. I believe they've been cloning humans for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
Hmm.
And
I spoke
those
about that on
movies you see-
my last broadcast.
Really?
Actually, was about genetically creating humans, animals, and plants and stuff. Yeah, it's there. It's coming. Yeah,
It's
we only have a
crazy.
couple minutes left though before we got to go off air. Actually, so I did want to take
Okay.
this time to thank you very much for joining me on the show today, and it was an
Okay.
excellent interview. I think very in depth and lots of information got out. If you could just list some website links or any important information that for our viewers out there to get in touch with you guys or to
Sure.
find out more information about this.
Well, our site, basically, if you can branch off from our church site, Genesis2 church.org. You can branch off to the YouTube videos, the malaria, with the Indians, testimonies, right from there. Genesis2church.org. If they want our newsletter, they can sign up for our newsletter. Gets to about 100,000 people, 2 or 3 times a month. That's helpful. That really is helpful. Get more people on newsletters. Get more information out there. Because we're not just writing about the church, writing about different things we're doing worldwide. We talk about things, you know, like what we talked about tonight, what's going on behind the scenes. That's really the main site to go to. MMSnews.org. You can see old newsletters there, whole list of them for the last 3 years. You can go through and topically look at the newsletters, different things we've talked about. But I guess that would be the place to go. And if you want to become a member of the church. Everybody's welcome. We need more good people
Yeah.
to get around this world and help their neighbor, you know?
Yeah,
That's
which is
really-
why I had you on the show, because you're a good person helping people and you're doing the right thing, I think, for sure. And I
Well, I
wouldn't have,
appreciate you.
if I thought MMS was toxic or lethal, I definitely wouldn't have had you on the show. I did think it was important to talk about that because that's what a lot of people are going to rebut
Sure.
this with. They're going to
Sure.
say it's bleach or this and that. They're not, without doing any information on it or seeing testimonies and stuff like that. So, yeah, again, I really want to thank you for being on the show today and for joining us today. And for anybody that's watching, definitely check out the links he provided. And as always, this video will be available once it's uploaded onto YouTube. So thanks for watching again. And thank you,
Okay,
Mark, for
Mark.
joining us.
Bless
It's
you and
great.
your family. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ciao. So there we have a great interview with Mark Grenon. I think that went really well. Definitely a lot of the questions I had about it were answered today, which I think was very important because I did have a couple questions about it. But I did a lot of research before the show just to get a bit of information about it so that I could know a little bit about it before I had him on. So anybody out there who, still is skeptical about MMS or anything, do your own research. Check it out. There's tons and plenty of information out there for you. I wouldn't advise going and making your own concoctions and taking it or anything like that. There's a process, they're called protocols, which are you need to be familiarized with before doing this. So definitely check it out. Contact somebody in your area that's involved with this and get some information out of them and let them help you, because if this is going to help cure things like malaria, AIDS, cancer, herpes, you name it, this is something that needs to be out there. And that's why the FDA, the Red Cross, all these groups are totally against it, and they're on campaigns. The media is on a campaign to ridicule it. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the agenda behind this. So again, I want to thank Mark and all you viewers out there for listening, and especially the people in the chat room that were talking. It was awesome that we had some viewers that weren't sure about what this was, which is why I also thought it was important to present to the public, just so we had a good idea so you guys would be a bit more educated on it and everything like that. So again, thank you guys for watching Unveiling the Truth on the Truth Broadcast Network. Check out Death to the New World Order, which is coming up next, and we got to unveil the truth, people. That's what we got to do, and that's what I'm all about.